Awesome. Thank you, Jacob. We are so excited to be here. So thank you for the time and the space. I'm really delighted to have our panelists here. There are going to be a variety of GitHubbers or hubbers that we call ourselves here at GitHub that work in different parts of the business, and we'll be speaking to their personal journey into the tech industry and what they have learned so far from being here. So what I'd like to do is have our panelists go kind of popcorn style, but they'll introduce themselves, name their pronouns, where they're located, where they're from, what they do at GitHub, and their favorite snack. So I'm going to get it started with Juan Pablo.
Oh no, I was just thinking, what's my favorite snack? Well, hey everyone, I'm Juan Pablo Flores. I'm a program manager here at the GitHub education team. My pronouns are he, him. And basically what I do is that I work in our student developer program. So my job is to help students to get the skills and support from GitHub to do events, support other students in their colleges, and basically helping you to have a smooth transition from the classroom to your professional life. And yeah, my favorite snack. So I'm currently located in Mexico City, and my favorite snack are, I have so many, but chilaquiles in the morning are just so good. So I would go with chilaquiles right now.
Great, thank you. And Aisha.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aisha Khan. My pronouns are she, her. I'm currently residing in San Jose, California, and I'm on the HR team in a couple of different capacities, managing some programs and also doing some talent acquisition. And my favorite snack, well, I have a couple, but my two absolute favorites in the whole wide world are tater tots and fresh garbanzos, like right off the mata, you know, those are it.
I'm really hungry now. All right. Thank you, Aisha. Javier.
Hello, everyone. I'm Javier de Leon. My pronouns are he, him. I am located in Irvine, California. That's in Southern California. It's in Orange County. But I'm from Santa Ana, California. Actually was born in Guadalajara. I am a senior software engineer here at GitHub, working on our Connect product that connects our on-prem instances to our .com. And my favorite snack, hands down, didn't have to take a second to think, was Flaming Hot Cheetos, because that's how I roll. Old school Flaming Hot Cheetos for sure. Yeah, thanks.
And Juan Pablo said was salsa. Yes. Begonia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Begonia Greca. I'm from LA and currently living in LA. My pronouns are she, hers, hers. So I'm a software engineer at GitHub. I'm currently on a team that's building out a DevOps data migration tool. And my favorite snack, I'm going to go with popcorn because I just had it, but definitely with hot sauce. And I don't know, people have been putting tahini on it. Allegedly.
Love it. All right. Last but not least, Andrea.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here today. So I'm Andrea Griffiths. I am a senior product manager here at GitHub. Super excited to be here with all of you. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And my favorite snack is similar to Begonia. I love kettle corn, like boom chicka pow, that sweet and salty, perfection.
Love it. All righty. So we are going to hop into the questions. And I think the first one would be a good just kind of jumping off and to get us warmed up. So for our panelists, the question is, what advice would you give to someone getting started in their tech career? And Andrea, I'm going to let you go first.
Oh my gosh. I had like the absolute fortune, blessing, and advantage of having really great people around me when I got started. But like from all the personal lessons that I've taken, I will share too. So number one is more of attitude type of advice. And it has to do with being humble. I know we all obviously want to have the best opportunity. We want to provide the absolute most for our families, but you have to keep it up in mind when you're entering tech and the tech world. So I know many people who have started in support or started in roles that maybe they weren't exactly what they wanted to do, but it opened the window, right? It opened the door. And then once they proved themselves, once they like demonstrated they were like amazing, they transitioned into exactly what they wanted to do. So I know we all want to start like way up here because I'm the same, I got bills, but just keep a humble approach and be open-minded about where the opportunities will come from. That's more of the, okay, what you can do approach. And then the best advice I gotten when I was looking for a job, which is really applicable, I guess, for some folks, it came from Katrina Owen, who's an amazing human engineer, exorcism creator. And she told me to make sure I volunteer for conferences, volunteer to help promote things and organize things. And if I had a chance to get into the green rooms with the speakers, take that job, even if it's taking out the trash, making sure they have a drink. So important and so underrated, because there you have one-on-one access with people who are industry professionals, well-known, with an amazing reputation, and you never know who you're going to meet that's going to open a window or a door for you. So keep humble and volunteer for community events.
Love that. Thank you. Begonia.
Oh man. So I'm gonna have to go with kind of my personal philosophy on these things. So when I first started, like, my big thing was like walk towards your fear, right? So whenever you feel yourself kind of like shying away from like either certain work items or certain aspects of a project, like DevOps really sounds like really scary and you like don't want to go there, that's where you need to go. Like you need to be volunteering to do that exact thing, because that's where you're going to see the growth potential. So yeah, walk towards your fear.
That. Yeah, going out of your comfort zone. Javier.
I think something that matters the most in your tech career from beginning to end is just networking. And I think events like this, like Nest Flight, are just incredible opportunities to meet people that have similar beliefs in terms of like their objectives and things like that. So I think being aware of these networking opportunities and every single connection that you make or every single person that you meet is a possibility to land a job, right? Whether that's a job next year or 5 years from now, I think that's super important. Every single job that I've ever landed has always been through some networking that I've managed to curate and maintain. So an event like Nest Flight is super important, knowing that you're very early on in your career, and it really facilitates a safe space where you can go up to somebody and talk to them, and then create and maintain that relationship for 5-10 years down the line, because that will definitely pay off.
Thank you. Aisha.
I feel like I'm going to repeat what everyone said, but this is all great advice. I would say certainly in general, in your career journey, don't be afraid to fail. It's okay if you go in one direction and pursue a path and it doesn't quite work out, it doesn't feel right. Listen to that voice, and it's okay to start over and try new things. I definitely encourage that. I've done that many times in my career. Sometimes it felt like a little scary to start over again, but it always led me in the right direction. And you learn with each experience, right? And exactly what Andrea said, if you do that, when you do that, be humble, have the humility to know that sometimes when you start fresh, that means you're really starting fresh, and it's okay to do that as well. And then the last thing is exactly what Javier said also. Events like this and networking is golden. It'll always help you. You never know what whose pathway you'll cross at events like these, and just in general at conferences, etc., that may be able to be the connection to get you to the place you want to go, or the opportunity, or exactly opening the door in the future. So always, continue to maintain connections with people through events like these. I think that's key.
Thank you, Aisha. And I see Luis in the chat already networking. So amazing job, Luis. Juan Pablo.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with Aisha. I think those recommendations are great. I would say only add that build a career as soon as you can. So imagine that your career is kind of like a Lego. So you can know where you want to go, but you need to find the pieces, right? And you can find the piece in different ways. One of them is going through college. Other people go through informal education and find the pieces. But most importantly, something cool about tech is that pieces can be shared without you losing those pieces. So you can share with other students or with other friends what you have learned without you having to lose your own Lego. So build with others. If there's a community in your campus, join your community or help them out to do events or do any kind of work that they're doing. And if there's not a community that you relate to, start one. And I would say the second advice that I can give you is, if you are in doubt about doing a thing, just do the thing. We reach out to many students just asking about, I don't know if I can speak to that conference, or I don't know if I can start an open source project, or if I can contribute to this community. And to be honest, we need more hands in technology. And just as Aisha mentioned, just do the thing. The worst thing that can happen is that they tell you hey, probably this is not the right place. Or in the best case scenario, you end up meeting new people and contribute it back to the community. So just do the thing and find a group of people you can relate with.
Yeah, I love that. I think, that's the theme of tonight. Just do the thing. Great. So some of y'all touched on this already, but I want to turn this a little bit more specific. So what was your first job in tech? How did you get your foot in the door? And Juan Pablo, I'm going to let you start this one.
Oh, that's a long story. So I started working in tech as a volunteer, or my interest started at going to events, and I volunteered at tech events as a staff. So I started at a competition here in Mexico City called the RoboCup that was in 2013. I'm not that old, folks. Chill. But yeah, it was some time ago, and I kind of joined because it sounded like fun. I did that and I did really well. Then I heard about this thing called hackathons, and I started to join hackathons as well, and kind of found my people there. And after we started to go into professional hackathons, we just asked ourselves, why aren't there any student organized hackathons? And as a student, we started to build a hackathon community here in the country. At the beginning, it was very hard because we needed to spread the word about what a hackathon was. So I would go to companies asking for sponsorship, and they would think that we were going to hack the Mexican National Bank or something like that. But it took us 3 years to start to see that hackathons became part of the pop culture in tech. And after that, through events, I started to meet amazing people. I met Andrea, for example, who is right now in the panel. I met a lot of other folks, the Major League Hacking team, and then ended up working with them after meeting them at a meetup. So yeah, the advice of sometimes I guess, or well, I felt that when you go to a meetup and you see someone who is super renowned, you're afraid to talk to them because probably you're not have the same skill level. Just reach out and tell them hey, you did great. As a speaker, when someone reaches out to you after the event, tell you hey, your talk was amazing. I really appreciated that you talked about that. It's just like super heartwarming. And as a speaker, that keeps you motivated to keep doing the work. So I guess for me, I graduated from a public university in Mexico and was lucky enough to be one of the few contractors at GitHub that works in Mexico City, not to say kind of like the first one. So it took us like 2 to 3 years though. Like it wasn't easy at that moment. And we had to go through so many different legal and financial parts that I was completely unaware of. But persistence was a key for, I guess, for me to be where I'm right now. And I'm in a team that I love. I'm doing the things that I'm super excited and super proud of. But it wasn't something that was done in one day. It took us 2 to 3 years to finally make all these things happen. So persistence is a key in tech, and it's very easy to get deviated.
Great advice. Thank you. Aisha.
So I have a bit of a roundabout way of having come into tech, which I guess the TLDR of it all is I was in hospitality for a while through college. And then my first job was in conference services, conference coordinator at Deloitte, which I do think I got a little, to be honest. I mean, I was pounding the pavement and applying to anything after college I could find, and I got lucky and ended up at Deloitte. But through that through line, which for me was customer service and hospitality, I actually worked with, after that, I worked with a recruiting agency, a staffing agency, which I'm a big fan of, having worked at them before. And it will always, to me, I always say it's just, in addition to you looking for jobs, it's another team and sets of eyes that are looking for you. And so I actually ended up getting sort of a customer service type role at Google. It was a contract job. And obviously that really helped. That was a door opener for sure. I mean, in terms of just being on my resume, it really helped get me to the next level. And then of course, direct me to the places I wanted to go. But I'm a big fan of staffing agencies. So I would always utilize them if you just want some additional assistance in your job searches. And then beyond that, I would also always encourage internships and boot camps, anything that, will continue to also help you get your foot in the door in different ways, and make your experience look really great to companies that are looking to take on interns or people that are new in their careers.
Yeah, thank you for highlighting. The internships are definitely really important. If you're able to, get those, it gives you that experience in addition to school or boot camp in a real company. Great, Javier.
So first job in the tech area, because I have a long history of tech in general. I'm just always been a nerd and a geek and things like that. But first time somebody paid me for it was definitely, I used to work IT or systems support trainer for a very popular Swedish furniture company, which there isn't many, so I'll just leave it at that. This was something that I did out of high school after working at that actual place. It was an internal referral. Is anybody interested in applying? So I said, hey, I know stuff, and I did, and I interviewed, and I got it. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot of responsibility, and then I kind of realized, oh, there's this ceiling, this literally wage ceiling. And mostly due to the fact that I didn't have higher education. So I was like, okay, all right, this is cool. I know I can do this. And now I need to prove it, as my dad used to always tell me, because I'm a re-entry student. So I left high school, I tried junior college, I gave up. And then I went to the work field, and then my dad would always say, don't forget to get that papelito, the little piece of paper indicating that you can, right? And that you have, and that you will, and you've done this. So yeah, definitely it was an IT job at that furniture company. And then I was like, oh, I gotta go back to school. So, but definitely that got my foot in the door as like, that built my resume as like, I've done something in this field. And then kind of built upon, even during school, I was doing like jobs here and there in the tech. I was doing freelance web development. So that really was a big one for me.
Nice. I don't know what company you're talking about. Just kidding. Begonia.
Awesome. Yeah. So mine's kind of weird. I have I guess also like a non-traditional pathway into tech. So I don't have a CS degree. My degree is in political science. And I even went as far as to get a master's in public policy. It wasn't until I stumbled upon some project where I needed to learn Python, when it just like, that was game over for me. Like I took this little course and I knew that that's what I wanted to be doing 24/7 all the time. So I decided to do a coding boot camp. So if you guys haven't heard of them, they're like a 3 to 6 month boot camp. Some are full stack. Mine was full stack. So after that, I got scooped up by this little company that was doing part-time contract work. And I did that for 6 months. Huge shout out to Zeke who took me on. But my real break, my real like first job was being accepted into the LEAP program at Microsoft. So if you haven't checked that out, 100% go take a look. So what this program is a 6-month apprenticeship. And they take folks that are coming from non-traditional and underrepresented backgrounds. And pretty much what the deal is they teach you, it's like 1 or 2 months of in-house learning. And then after that, they just stick you on a team. They're like, can you do the job? Like, can you build the thing, right? And so, yeah, I worked my butt off. And then from there got 2 different offers. So it's been a wild ride, but yeah, definitely check out the LEAP program. They're a great way to get your foot in the door.
Awesome. Yeah, love LEAP. And I think there might be a question, Begonia, for you in the chat, just kind of which boot camp, if you want to maybe drop that in there. Andrea.
I am very much like Begonia. I have a very non-traditional path into my career. I was a late bloomer career changer, I guess you could call me. So I've had a lot of jobs in my life. I was in the US Army. I was a construction manager. I owned a couple of health clubs at one point. And the common denominator on all of the jobs that I had is that I feel like I have the heart of a developer because I always look for the way to automate, like, and do things the lazy way. So I was always looking for like, what software can optimize this? How can I make this easier for like contractors, etc. So I took a lot of pride into being able to like bring technology to the space that I was working in at the time. So the dream had always been, I would love to be in this space. I would love for this to not be just like adjacent to what I'm doing, but be what I'm doing. And I am 110% powered by community. I've started volunteering for an organization called Operation Code, and they are great advocates for veterans who are exiting the armed forces and also their spouses or partners to have really successful careers in tech. And so I stumbled upon them because I had a problem. I went back to work after my youngest babe was born. And I thought for a second that I could just whip up a website in a couple hours. And I wanted to create like this place of connection for working mothers. And then once I started to get into it, I realized, oh no, this is not so simple. So I started looking for resources to stumble upon Operation Code and volunteer, helping them what I could. And they presented an opportunity for me. I was sort of the guinea pig for the apprenticeship program at GitHub. So very lucky and blessed to even have had the opportunity to be in the presence of so many brilliant people. But once I got there, I knew like there was no other space I would want to be in, and there was nothing else I would want to do. So, you know, it's not conventional. Like my degree is in public administration with a minor in criminal justice. So I had like literally my path to tech is 100% unconventional. But I love to tell this story only because I feel like people get kind of caught up in their boxes, and every single person who is here listening to this, you can do this. You belong here. You can be a person in tech. And there are so many ways to be in tech. They all don't have to be software engineering related. So just keep that in mind, keep an open mind about what you want to do and find the angle. You know, obviously it is attractive because you can have a nice living and you have security. I mean, during these times, you know, I've been very blessed. Like, as so many people are losing their jobs, I knew I had security in mind. That's insane. Like, how does that happen? So keep an open mind about what you want to do and how you want to enter the space. But yeah, you belong here. Just remember that you belong here.
I love that. Thank you, Andrea. And yeah, like Jacob said, you can be a person in tech, and I'm so glad y'all are able to see the different paths here and the different types of roles, because as she said, it's not just, you know, software engineering. There's lots of different opportunities for that. Great. So pivoting to lessons learned. So can you give us an example of a time that you failed at something, but you overcame it? So Andrea, I'll have you start.
Oh, wow. This is recorded now. So I think it's part of my experience as an apprentice, because I was hired for like this literally dream opportunity. Moved my family to San Francisco because I could not fathom to not be with them for several months, which was the length of the apprenticeship. And I had a baby that was barely like 6 months at the time. So I'm like, no, y'all coming with me. And I really went head on, and that I just saw this as an opportunity that it was once in a lifetime, and I was going to go all in, right? I didn't like step back and consider like repercussions, what will happen at the end. And basically just told my husband, quit your job. You're moving to San Francisco with me so that I can do this thing. And lucky for me, like he's always been very supportive of what I want to do. But I definitely did not take into consideration that at the end of the apprenticeship, the goal was to like, send me into the world to fly, little bird, and let's figure out if you can get a job because you've done this thing at GitHub. And that was extremely, extremely challenging. And I actually applied for a role at GitHub while I was transitioning out of apprenticeship and got a massive deny. And it was crushing. I could not believe, because I was applying for something that I literally felt like, this is what I've been doing for the past 4 or 5 months. Like, I don't understand. Why won't you hire me? So absolutely crushing, absolutely like a life lesson, and something that helped me just even become more driven. Like I've seen this tweet going around, and it's like, it's so silly and petty, but it's like spite motivated career growth. I wanted to go out there and prove to everyone that I could do a job, I could get a job, and this is my space, I belong here too. So yeah, that was just super hard. So it's hard to embrace rejection. I hate interviewing. I hate going through that whole process. It's so devastating especially when you have your heart set on something. And 100% like for like the hovers here, I literally had a team post drafted saying my goodbye from GitHub, and also saying but I'm not going because I'm now going to be in this role. Like I've literally like wrote this thing out. And then when they were like, no, go bye. It was absolutely devastating. So just gathering for those lessons. Now I think back, and I think like I needed to go through that. I needed to go through that feeling of applying to 50,000 jobs, and like, honestly, interviewing is like a muscle. Like it sucks, but the more you do it, hey, the better you get at it. Reviewing your resume, keeping your LinkedIn, like doing all those things that you're like, oh, I hate doing that. But that forced me to do those things. And eventually I did land a job with a Spanish startup, which I absolutely adore. So it's one of those things. And then I boomerang back to GitHub because thank you. But it's, it's one of those things. It's like, it's so hard to feel that rejection. But if you can like use it as a superpower and like just force yourself to even become more into it, it totally works.
I love that. Thank you, Andrea. And for our hubbers and panelists that are here, like, can you just raise your hand if you like have been rejected from a job before? Yes, multiples. It's part of the process. It has no relation to your value at all. It is definitely part of the process. Thank you, Andrea. Begonia.
Oh man, and Andrea, like literally, it was like exact same thing that I was gonna say. But I suppose, yeah, it's gosh, right after I got out of my boot camp, you think you're going to hit the ground running, you're going to get this 6-figure job, you have it all lined up in your mind. And then you start interviewing and like, again, it's like a muscle, right? It's like it's a skill almost in itself, like learning how to like all those algorithms, right? Like all your little pitches that you need to say, right? It's this muscle that you need to build. And it took me a long time before I got synced up with my first job. But it's like, I just want to like implore, just keep at it. There's like so many times when, I felt like I like took a step back and I was like, should I keep doing this? Like, this isn't like working. I'm like not getting any traction. And I had a friend come in and she was like, what is your goal? Like, what do you want to be doing? Like, is this actually like, if this is your career and this is what you love, you just keep pushing back until it works. And I will say, like, after the LEAP apprenticeship, when I had to interview again, I swear to you, it gets easier. Like I felt so much sharper, like my second round of interviews. Like it seems impossible at first. It seems like the most horrifying thing, or maybe at least for me, it was. But with practice and with time and with patience, I promise you, you're gonna land the job that you want.
I love that. Yeah. It reminds me of advice that I got where it's just, if you get invited to interview, just take the interview. Like, even if you don't want the job, just take it. It's good practice and you just never know. Aisha.
So on that same theme of rejection, my experience, it's a fun one, is I've been let go from a job before, and it's never fun. And it certainly took me by surprise. Circumstances are what they are. And I was busting my behind, doing great work, but sometimes things just happen the way that they do. And so, it'll happen sometimes. And that's just like interviewing. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes the job doesn't work out. And it can be easy to feel dejected and let it get to you. But I took it as an opportunity and just said, okay, this is a blessing in disguise. What that means is this wasn't my time here, and now it's time to find something else that'll be better for me. And so it's really just having the right attitude and being resilient, even in the face of adversity and some hardships that'll also potentially happen in your careers. And so I just took it as an opportunity. I did some soul searching, again, big on like listening to your gut. And I really, I just had to think about, okay, what do I want to do next? What's exciting? What companies do I now want to go to? And it led me to some great places, including here. So, cliche, but one door closes, you never know what's on the other side. So, yeah, that was, that was my experience.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And yes, we've also, I'm sure can get hands of who's been let go before. And again, not tied to who you are, your value or anything. It's just part of the industry. Great, thank you, Aisha. Javier.
Yeah, I can't pinpoint one time that I failed. I think I fail all the time, and I think and it's about like I fail every day at something, right? Whether it's big or small, and throughout my career, throughout my life, forget just my professional career, but just like as a human being, I fail, and it's understanding the small failures and the large failures and kind of recover from that, right? So I have this little note that I carry in my pocket, and I have like 3 affirmations like that I carry around because I have trouble with failure. Like if I don't succeed on something, I fail. I'm just gonna read them out loud. So it's like I'm not a failure even though I fail. If I keep trying, it means I'm not quitting, and I'm not perfect, and that's okay, right? So this is something like I'm trying to live my life by, at work and then out of work. It's a very, in order to impact your work, it's going to be very difficult to be one person in your personal life and be a different person at work. That doesn't exist. There's not a switch that at 9 o'clock, I'm this person. And at 5:30, I turn off that switch. It doesn't. If you want to succeed and change the way you fail or the way you recover from failure at work, you have to change the person who you are out of work. And that's a big task, right? And how you recover from that. And I think I'm always trying to improve on that. I'm never gonna reach that level of like I never fail. It's just how can I recover from it on the daily, right?
Great advice. And I love those affirmations. Amazing. Juan Pablo.
Oof. I don't know. After the note comment, I have nothing to get over that. But I guess something that has been very particular in the work that I've done is that I've been very lucky to be the first one in many things, right? So we organized the first hackathons. I was the first employee for MLH in LATAM as well. We created the first LGBTQ community in tech in Mexico. So that was like, believe me, if you want to get into huge things and start touching like these points where kind of like new and you get to explore and also kind of like, I guess it's not only about exploring new things on your region or where you're from, but also kind of like exposing yourself to probably new things. And I would say one of the things, it's not so much kind of like a problem that I had, but it's much more something that I went through in some time ago. Well, it's kind of like something that I call being a digital migrant or a digital migrant in tech. So I remember joining companies and being like, they have like these Mexico channel on Slack, and you join and you're just like, hey, who else is in Mexico? And everybody's just like, oh my God, I'm going to Tulum in a couple of weeks. But in many ways, kind of like borders are not only defined by geography, but also about cultures and social dynamics. And kind of like when you are the first one in a company, you also kind of like need to learn how those dynamics work. And even though you are not moving to another country physically, you are moving in your work environment. And that sets up a lot of rules, a lot of ways in which the teams communicate. And I would say it is essential for anyone who's working, even if you are the same country, kind of like exploring how different cultures work within the company and understanding them. It is a key component for you to be successful at your work. And as a minority, it's hard to do it at the beginning. Like you're gonna fail a lot of times on the way that you communicate with other teams, in the way that you express things. But it is through kind of like this fail and learning process that you'll be able to do your work the right way. And right now you can see me in a very fancy camera, but I was extremely scared of live streams and being on live shows. And in the last few months, that has been kind of like my job in the role that I have. which is kind of like helping students to learn skills. So it's kind of like as you fail, you also learn. But as everybody in the industry tells you, learn fast and don't repeat yourself. So if you fail two times for the same thing, probably you either like learn or kind of like start searching for something else. But the whole idea is just learn how the culture works within a company. And it is okay when you probably don't communicate the way the company expects you the first times, but you'll learn how to go around your teams.
Amazing. Thank you. Great. Well, thank you, panelists, for answering the question. So we're going to open it up to some Q&A for our panelists. So for the audience, if you want to drop a question in the chat, or if you want to just unmute and ask a question, you can do that as well. But want to leave space and opportunity for you to ask whatever questions you would like.
I can add a comment though. Talking about like the failures, I like the tweet that I saw today from Martin Woodward, our director at DevRel, who mentioned that if you don't get rejected the 20% of the times, probably you're not shooting high enough. So it is normal to get rejected. And if you're not getting rejected, probably you're not shooting as high as you can.
I love that. That's my new boss, yo. Okay, I have a question for everyone. Where are you tuning in from? Put it in the chat. Where are you in the world? Oh my gosh, it's everywhere. This is the UN, California, North Korea. What? That's awesome. LA, I love it. Watsonville. What's up? Hey, Jorge and Claudia, you need to meet. You're in the same place. That is so cool. Salinas, lots of Salinas. She's my aunt. I love it. Family connection. Get them the resources. Well done. Well done.
So everyone, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. Or if you're uncomfortable, you feel free to drop them in the chat and I can read them out loud for you. I know we have questions out there. Oh, we got a raised hand. Go ahead and unmute yourself and go for it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Arely Lopez. I'm tuning in from Norwalk, California. And I wanted to ask all of you panelists, why do you think it's important for first generation people of color or anyone from that background to be in tech?
Can I just jump in here because this is, so I grew up in Colombia, South America. I moved to the United States when I was 17. And the first time I ever saw a computer, I was 15 and a half, and it was at my uncle's. My high school didn't have a computer. I mean, it's incredible the level of access that kids now have to technology. Both my children, ages 4 and 8, have MacBooks. They very much know how to operate them and do things in them. But I'm like, oh my God, what is this coming from? So I'm a firm believer in like, you have to see it to be it, right? Because it gives you such a boost of confidence. And realistically speaking, I would have never started speaking at conferences or like feeling more comfortable for reaching out outside of my comfort zone if it wasn't for the Octogatos. The Octogatos literally sponsor my first ever conference that I went to speak at, and it was Node Conf in Colombia, where I'm from. So it was like a big deal to me because I'm coming back where I'm from as a professional to share something. And I mean, I felt ill prepared. They helped me. They edited my notes. They listened to my dry runs, gave me so much feedback. And after I went and presented then, I had so many people reach out to me and be like, you know what? I feel like maybe I can try and do that. Maybe I want to do this. So if you can see it, you can be it. And this is why it's so important for us brown people to inspire the next generations and let them know like this space is for you, right? So yeah, I'm 100% about that. And I will tell anyone, and it doesn't even have to be a Latino person. It can be a woman or someone from another underrepresented group. But I feel like it's so powerful when you share your journey and you let someone see that, yeah, I didn't go to MIT. I'm definitely not a white dude, but I'm here.
I can jump up next. Can I go on the other side? Because Andrea is just like awesome always. But I don't know if you folks know Safia Umoya, who is the author of a great book called Algorithms of Oppression, which is basically how algorithms are biased towards certain population. So we need more people from more diverse backgrounds to help us make the internet a welcoming space for everyone. And that's what we need, as Andrea said, like brown people, black people, people from all sort of backgrounds. And that's something that I even see, well, my community is more in Mexico City, but when people ask about pronouns in Mexico City, it's kind of like, how can I ask the question the right way? Or how do I avoid people getting offended? And it's kind of like, if you have a diverse group of people in your team, you know, like you have someone close who you can make these questions, and probably you can start creating environments more friendly for everyone and making apps that will involve everyone and not only a very specific group that you're very familiar with.
Juan, we had a request for you to drop the title of the book in the chat, if you don't mind. Thank you. We probably have time for 2 more questions. Oh, we got one here. I got one through the DM. So it says, how long did it take you to land a job once you started looking for one? I just graduated 3 months ago from UCSC with a BS and CS and worried that it's taking me longer than usual to land a job. PS, I'm shooting for a software engineer.
I could answer that. Begonia, go ahead. I saw you unmute, and then go ahead.
No, do it. I'll go right after you. Okay, all right. I'm gonna be vulnerable here, and I'm gonna tell you, I also don't have a CS degree, so it took me a little bit longer. So it took me 5 months. 5 months. It's scary. You know, I had a lot of moments where I was like, am I doing the right thing? Like, should I just pivot back like into the public sector? And just, I'm telling you, stick with it. Like, something's gonna bubble up. Like, don't be afraid, just keep going, keep applying. Like, something's gonna work out.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics around your situation. The person asking about time frame, but all I can recommend is when you think of the interviewing process, as a person that's interviewing, you think that a company has, 6 candidates for a position, right? And then they pick who they want. What I found to be super helpful has been kind of switching the tables in that perspective, where I am flooding and I'm doing all the interviewing that I can. Like, interviewing is a skill. Whiteboarding is a skill. I'm not good at previous jobs. I'll say this: I would interview even if I'm not thinking of changing jobs. Why? Because it's important to know how to interview, and the better you get at it, it'll show, and it'll show results. My perspective on interviewing is I've had 4 offers at the final stage, and I got to pick what I wanted, not the other way around, right? So you want to switch the tables. You need to interview as much as you can. If you're really serious about interviewing and getting a job, I would say you should be interviewing maybe at 4 places a week. And then you'll build out that thing. You will get to the next stage maybe not in all of them, but at some of them you will get to the next stage, and then you will be in a position where you can decide from all these final stage offers who you want to pick. But more than anything, it's a muscle that you have to exercise. And knowing that you're a fresh grad, I'm guessing that's not a muscle you have fully worked out yet. So it's even more important to maybe not necessarily go with the first offer that you see, especially if you're putting 100% of your energy towards one job, right? Like if you really want to get a Google and all you're thinking about is Google, that's great. Google's a great company, but I would definitely suggest to interview because it's important to know how to interview.
All right, I think we have time for one last question.
I believe Areli has her hand up.
I didn't want to take up space, so I was just waiting just in case someone else wanted to ask the question. So my question to you all, whoever would like to answer as well, is what advice would you give to someone who doesn't have a background like at all in tech, but is interested in transitioning their career path into tech? And saying that, coming from my position, I graduated from UC Berkeley in 2019 with my BS in conservation and resource studies, and I focused on environmental science, education, and public health. But now I'm also trying to see if there's a way to kind of use my interest in what I've learned and put that into tech. But I also don't have a background in tech. So what advice would y'all give to me?
I just want to say a quick comment and then someone else can take it. But Areli, all companies are software companies, no matter what they do, what they sell, what they're about. Like we live in such an interconnected virtual time that even if your business is selling arepas, if you have a website, you're going to sell more arepas. So lean on that, lean on your interest, because that makes oh my gosh, it makes the whole like process so much more enjoyable when you're like doing something that you're passionate about, right? So I guarantee you there's a company out there that's doing the thing that you went to school for, and it has a software and tech angle. So lean on that for sure.
I love that. And I see some networking happening in the chat. I love it.
I just wanted to do like one quick plug. Also, if you're just starting out, I don't know if you're like interested kind of more in a PM route or in like a software, like engineering route. But if you're interested in like more of the engineering route, I always tell people, you know, there's lots of like online tutorials that you could check out, like learning JavaScript, you know, God, I'm like blanking on the names right now. And then kind of once you go through those like basic tutorials, like the biggest thing is just start like building like the tiniest things, like a little baby calculator, like a little, like whatever, right? Just kind of get your feet wet, kind of get an idea of, you know, like, do you really like this? Is this something that you're interested in? You'll find out pretty quickly whether you like it or not. But yeah, my advice is, yeah, try to go build something and learn a little.
Try to go build something and learn a little. Absolutely. So I want to thank the entire GitHub team from the bottom of my heart. You all have been here with us for the last 3 nest flights from the very beginning. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. This panel was amazing. I think there's snippets of quotes I'm going to take from this entire thing and be sharing them all out with other Digital Nest youth that weren't able to be here.